Some people in the world can only be summed up as complete and utter scumbags. Now let me just set the scene. On August 13th, 2022, at a time of 10 minutes past 12 in the morning, a drink driver crashed into an Uber by driving on the wrong side of the road, and instead of being shocked, sad, remorseful even, the first thing the drink driver could do when asked about his thoughts on the collision was to laugh. To actually laugh. Now what type of person does that make him? 25-year-old Steve Boochoon was a habitual drink driver. He got behind the wheel of an uninsured Volkswagen Golf after being 3 times over the limit, and then again drove along the wrong side of the road at almost 60 miles per hour in a 20 miles per hour zone in North London in the early hours of the morning. To make matters worse even, he had also been disqualified from driving due to previous offences to do with alcohol, and he was not even insured. Now despite this, Steve Boochoon did not care. He assumed he had the right to do whatever he liked because he was a selfish and egotistical person, self-centred. He took his car and careened it into an Uber driver that was carrying a wife and mother of 2, Franca Grossi, who was head receptionist for the Tony and Guy Academy, and the incident took place on Hornsey Rise. Now Franca had been travelling home after work. After having drinks with her best friend, members of the public helped Franca and her friend and the taxi driver from the wreckage after the incident, but sadly Franca died the next day due to her injuries. Her best friend and the taxi driver suffered injuries too, but they survived. Now during the court case, the taxi driver says that Steve was driving so fast that 1, the Uber driver did not have a chance to even react, and secondly, he also had no idea it was a car that caused the collision because everything was a blur due to the speed. Now when Steve was helped from the wreckage himself, police asked him what was his thoughts on the accident, to which Steve actually laughed and says something to the effect of, "It's not my problem." Now even though Steve Boochoon had gone on the wrong side of the road, he initially blamed the Uber driver for the collision, but he did change his stance to guilty later on, and that's probably due to the fact that police found empty bottles inside the Volkswagen at the time of the incident. Now because he had a defence team, and despite the fact that it was recorded that Steve had laughed after the collision, Steve's defence team says that Steve's speeding was not prolonged, and despite laughing, he has shown genuine remorse. Again, Steve had previous convictions for driving while under the influence. Now Steve Boochoon of Brock Road, Hornsey admitted causing death by dangerous driving, causing death by driving while disqualified, and causing death by driving while uninsured, and using a motor vehicle in a public place with no insurance, and he is due to be sentenced soon. Condolences. Stay safe. Safe.